The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools. If it's the sport you care about, we're talking about it. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
What's going on, everybody? Eric Frandsen, Ajay, Salvesen.
What's going on, everybody?
Good Monday afternoon.
Monday.
Hope you had a good weekend.
I am Maniac Monday. Wish it were Sunday.
You sound like Jim
That's
Gaffigan
my
right
fun day. Ah, crap! I forgot my book.
now. Jim Gaffigan.
Who is Jim Laugh Again?
He's a great comedian.
Does he laugh again? You get it? No?
Oh.
Eric, how was the freaking weekend? Was it all right? I mean, I know your Saturdays are pretty much taken away as you are getting ready for pre and post of Utah State Aggie sports. But other than that, everything okay? Yeah.
I thought it was an interesting weekend with Region 11 starting it off. A lot of the area high school teams playing on Friday night. We had a very busy day on Saturday for college football. And the NFL got started this weekend.
Yes, it did. Some of us are more happy than others right now. If you're an Oakland fan, you are probably thinking about just quitting being a fan of football as a whole. If you're a Patriots fan, you are putting together a Super Bowl party already, like me and Reggie, hanging out in February.
Boy, they looked good.
Yeah,
they looked good yesterday.
Okay, so here's the thing, though.
Do they really need another offensive weapon?
I thought they would look better on offense than they would on defense. I didn't think. Look, I picked him in my fantasy football team, and I put him as my defense, and it worked out to be a charm. I didn't think that they'd play that well. Not 33-3 well. Not shutting down their best receiver to 2 catches, 68 yards well. Not holding Ben Roethlisberger to a minuscule QB rating. Not
made him look like a veggie burger.
Not holding him to 9 of 16 in the first half well. They did everything that they wanted to do defensively to Pittsburgh. And that just amazes me defensively how well they played. That was really what stood out to me. Not the Philip Dorsett 2 catches, deep catches in the end zone. Not, no David Andrews at center, so they have a brand new center out there, Ted Karras, and he ends up playing really well. Not Julian Edelman, none of that. And by the way, they still have Benjamin Watson coming back after 4 games, N'Keal Harry after 8 games, I believe, from the IR. So they're not done. Oh, yeah, and by the way, I guess they picked up a guy from Central Michigan, Antonio Brown, I heard. We'll see how good the guy is. I mean, we'll find out. But according to Pittsburgh, he's pretty good. That's why they're so pissed.
What a weird weekend that was. Just because when we were on the air Friday, we were thinking, okay, maybe things have gotten resolved.
Yeah.
He apologized to the team. But then there were more shenanigans over the weekend.
And the stories that are coming out, from Chris, and by the way, Chris Mortensen is a trustworthy, reliable source. I love Chris's work. I really do. And so the story that came out about him using social media to blast his team and to destroy any relationship we had with the Raiders so he could get traded is interesting. What makes it even more interesting is the fact that after that, then there's report that the Patriots were willing to give up 1 or 2 first-round picks to Pittsburgh to get Antonio Brown in March, and Pittsburgh's like, no. Go somewhere else? And so they're like, all right, we'll do it the long way. And sure enough, Antonio's like, well, I want to go to New England. Oh, I can't? You're going to send me to Oakland? Well, watch me. And sure enough, he destroys Oakland in every... And the thing is like... There's two ironics to this, and one is this. We all remember Randy Moss and his he went just mentally crazy almost. Well, at the end of his term in Minnesota, went to Oakland and it got worse. Well, where did he go from Oakland? He went to
New England.
And
New England has a habit of picking up
23 touchdowns later. Randy Moss and his team are in the Super Bowl at 18-0.
Yeah, somehow New England just has a magic touch with players that just are.
But this is different.
On an island or messed up.
But this is different. Randy Moss.
They go there and all of a sudden everything's right in the world and just part of the machine.
This is so much different for Randy Moss, and this is actually more volatile, and here's why. Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, the whole thing is available at the fingertips of Antonio Brown. That wasn't there when Moss was going to New England in 2007. They were able to tame him a lot more and control him a lot more because there was no social media besides Facebook. Now
MySpace.
And MySpace. and now you have your fingertips on your phone where you can type whatever you want. And so as a Patriots diehard fan,
with everything that's happened over the last couple of months with Antonio Brown, how much of it was him he's off his rocker, he's got issues, he's just an unstable prima donna, or how much of it was very planned, very strategic, and just to get out of his deal at Oakland so he could be where he really wanted to be in New England, and he's going to be a very different character once he shows up.
That's a great. I mean, dude, there's so many gosh dang outlets we could take on this story.
Because an hour later from being released, he signs with New England.
Well, here's the thing. Remember, again, New England wanted him in March.
That wasn't already planned.
No, well, okay, planned by who though? You say New England was in on it? You're saying New England's Bill Belichick. Hey, would you get on a Snapgram and just go ahead and post something about the letter? I think that might do it for us. We get him back.
No, but I don't think they helped him in his strategy. But
I think his agent did, though. I think his agent was. In fact,
I'm confident that New England had to have said, "Look, do what you can to get out of your deal. When you get out, we'll be right there for you."
Yeah, I think his agent.
So how he got out was on
First
him.
Take today, and his agent got on there and said, "Yeah, I didn't know about it. Yes, you did, Drew.
On.
You knew everything that was going on. You knew your client wasn't happy. You've been working for the Patriots for the last 20 years, or with the Patriots in regards of clients that you've had. Rob Gronkowski's one of those, and you're gonna tell me you didn't know? Give me a break, man. You might have went to him and said, look, I know you're not happy here, Antonio. I know you want to go to somewhere where you have a good quarterback and a good system. I've got one for you. Let's see if we can make it work." And they did. Now, I know, is he a despicable, in regards of being football league NFL player, is he despicable? Absolutely. It is disgusting what he did. The fact that he ruined that, I mean, he didn't suit up for the Raiders not one game, and they had every right to fine him, and they did. And then to record a conversation between you and your coach, but then the videographer for that conversation said, "Yeah, John Gruden said we could post it." Bull. Give me a break. That's absolute garbage. Now, here's the thing. With his contract now with New England, they can terminate him by season's end, and he would get none of that money. Well, I guess he wouldn't get the rest of the money that he is signed up for this year. Now, but they've done something really interesting, and it's really uncharacteristic of New England, is that they added on a little pot at the end of the rainbow, and that's the $20 million guaranteed if he ends up playing in the next year. So New England's saying, look, we don't know. We know you're a hell of a football player. We don't know if you're actually capable of shutting your mouth, shutting off your phone, and playing football, though. Can you stay off the Snap face, the MyGram, the Insta face, and actually just play football for us? If you can't, get out of here and go play for Cleveland and go play for a train wreck like them. Because we are a well-oiled machine. If you don't believe it, go watch tonight's game. And he did, and saw a shellacking of 33-3, and he probably scratched his head and said, "So how do I fit in on this squad?" I mean, it's just, like I said, there's so many outlets to the story, and we only hit into 2 or 3 of them. But again, going back to your question of how much is it him crazy and how much is it is planned, I would say 20% him crazy. I'd say 80% planned. He wanted to go to New England. He wanted to get out of Oakland for whatever reason. I have no idea. And then it worked. It worked. The New England went back, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they had $30 million in cap space clear for him, which is exactly which they're on, because that's exactly what he asked for in Oakland, couldn't get.
How could that be possible if they didn't know what was going on?
Yeah. But,
how could they have a contract language already ready for him to sign within an hour?
You could read between the lines that Antonio, and it's not hard to make a contract, Eric. You get on the computer, type up a few words, make sure the finances are clean, bam, you're done. It's not hard.
Find and replace, change names.
Now, the question is, and look, as great as this is for New England, I mean, there's two huge concerns. One, Antonio Brown. Because if he really is that mentally unstable, get him off your team. Josh Gordon is in the best environment right now. Why? Because it is distraction-free. It is drama-free. That is one player who cannot, and I mean in absolutely no way, shape, or form, cannot have any distractions in of any sort. Because if he does, he's going to go down that dark path again. And nobody, I don't think anybody on this planet wants him to do it. So he's in the wide receivers room, and it's distraction free. Everybody's, there for everybody. Can Antonio Brown continue that trend and actually lift it up? Or is he going to go in there and create a mess, which is going to take away from this team? And if he does, look, kill the cord, be done with it, pay him his week check, and tell him to get out. And Bill will. I don't know what the conversation was between Bill and Anthony, but it had to be something of, look, we love you, you're a great player, but if you do anything that's stupid that you did in Oakland, you won't get away with it here. We'll burn you here.
If one thing, I have to give Antonio Brown some credit for making the start of the NFL season really interesting.
That's true.
That whole drama has seized. Well, and there was some drama with Ezekiel Elliott as well, but nothing to the same degree as what was going on with Antonio Brown. So the NFL season officially underway. They have the game on Thursday night. Packers and the Bears, kind of not a really dynamic offensive game, more of a defensive battle, but the Packers got the win. And then a full slate of games yesterday, and then you got a doubleheader going on tonight. Texans at the Saints. That's going to be at 5:10, so coming up in about an hour from now on ESPN. And then the late game will be at 8:20, Broncos and Raiders. And what's interesting to me is that the Broncos, even though this game is in Oakland, are only favored by 3. Despite all the dysfunction and all the drama going on with Oakland, Denver's only favored by 3.
Wow. No kidding. Huh, is that where's that at?
That is in Oakland.
In Oakland, okay. That should be fun. I'm excited about that. see where things stand at this point.
Any other games of the NFL's opening weekend that kind of stood out to you?
Oh yeah, there's a few. Well, I mean, we can maybe give like our hots and nots. Hot right now, Kansas City. Not right now, Cleveland Browns.
Oh my gosh, that was
give me another hot Dallas Cowboys. Not same division, Washington Redskins, who blew a huge lead. Give me another one. Hot would be. I know it's only week 1, but New England. Not would be Pittsburgh. What? Oh yeah, and by the way, let's see. Another hot would be. Give me one of your hots. I have a not for it, but I need a hot.
I'd say
Baltimore.
Yes.
And your not is Miami.
Yeah. No, yeah, Baltimore. Oh my gosh, 59 points.
Lamar Jackson. Dude, who the heck?
That is so rare to see a score that high in the NFL.
Yeah, and Lamar Jackson throwing the ball that deep.
5 touchdowns.
He was incredible.
He was.
Does anybody have him on our fantasy league?
Probably. Probably had him on the bench. But how about the Titans though too? That's a team.
Okay, well, I mean, do we say how about the Titans or how about the Browns?
Well,
how do you take that?
Yeah, were the Titans that good, or were the Clevelands that dysfunctional? Or the Clevelands?
I would almost
the Browns
say okay. So it's almost the latter more than the norm because, and here's the why. You have a talented team like Cleveland. and you get your butts handed to you like that by the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans, man? Really? Like Marcus Mariota?
Well, that was a playoff team just a few years ago.
Okay.
2 years ago.
It's
not like there's some
ago.
dumpster team that's never been there.
Yeah, but we're talking about like Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker. I mean, and then they supposedly had one of the best offensive lines in the AFC. Well, that definitely proved false. But yeah, you're right. Credit to Tennessee coach Mike Vrabel, by the way, former Patriots great defensive end. He's got something going there. How about Detroit? Did they beat Arizona? Right? Detroit held on to beat Arizona. If I remember, Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. I'll have to look it up again. Both those teams are really bad, though. There's no way I turn around and I'm like, yeah, you know.
Okay, so hot or not, ties in the NFL. I mean, that Arizona and Detroit game ended in a tie.
Oh, it was a tie.
27 all. If no one is leading after the first overtime, the game just ends in a tie. Do you support that? Are you okay with that? Because you get a couple of them every year. Or do you take the college football route and say you keep going until there's a winner?
No, I think you keep going until there's a winner. I do.
For the sake of player safety, do you just say, look, we're going to end the game when we're going to end the game?
Vince Lombardi once said, it ties like kissing your sister. And if you like kissing your sister, then you need to get off the team. That's what he said.
That's disturbing.
So, Vince Lombardi he was a great coach. He just had some weird sayings. No, I think you need a winner. I don't think 0-1 is. I just think that looks so dumb. Play until you have a winner. My heck, you're getting paid millions. And by the way, but how does the Lions let 8? You know, hot or not? I like that. Lions, you let 18 points. You let Cardinals score 18 points on you in the fourth. You're up 17-6 going into the fourth, and you can't hold the lead. Tie at 24 going in overtime, and you end up in a tie.
Yeah, Kyler Murray early in the game just looked bad.
Yeah.
And then as the game progressed, he dialed it up.
He's going to learn.
Fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's going to take some time. He'll learn. I think he'll be all right. How about the 49ers pounding on Tampa Bay? I mean, Jameis Winston, 20 of 36 for 194 and a touchdown, but, man, those Niners, jeez. Like, back in the good old days, I used to remember when you used to watch the Niners, and you know that they were going to win, and they were going to win by a lot. And I can't tell you the last time I felt like that, or at least
there was a lot of talk in the offseason about Bruce Arians and how well he would do to help Jameis Winston and kind of revitalize Tampa Bay. Gosh, no, it wasn't the case at all.
Another hot or not, Jets are not. Absolutely are not.
The Bills are not necessarily a great team.
Freaking
But the
bad.
Jets, there was a lot of talk about the Jets kind of revitalizing some things and having some new hope.
Well,
and they let the Bills score 2 touchdowns
unless Joe Namath is coming
quarter.
through that door, unless Mark Sanchez of 2009 is coming through that door, unless Curtis Martin is coming through that door, the Jets are going to Jets.
Former Wyoming Cowboy Josh Allen was the only signal caller for Buffalo.
Yeah.
Not a great performance.
No.
254 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. But Sam Darnold, there was a lot of hope that he could kind of revitalize things there. And
that Minnesota-Atlanta game was kind of intriguing. On one side, okay, put your blindfold on for a second here and just hear the numbers, and then I'll ask you a question. Matt Ryan goes 33 of 46 for 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Kirk Cousins, 8 of 10, 98 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Who do you think won and by how much?
I would think Atlanta won by 2 touchdowns.
Right? With the blindfold on, obviously you know who won. Minnesota 28-12 winners over Atlanta. How the heck do you throw the ball 46 times? No, wait, timeout. How do you throw the ball 10 times and score 28 points? Like, at some point you're saying, hey, look, it's 3rd and 15. They're going to throw it. Nope, let's hand off to Dalvin Cook and gain 20.
Yeah, Cook was a monster.
21 carries, 111 yards, 5.3 average per carry, 2 touchdowns. Just unreal, man. How do you... Yeah, that just amazes me. And they still won. Atlanta, dude, ever since that Super Bowl debacle, they have just been flat. I mean, they've plateaued. I don't know how long Mike Smith will keep his job. No, it's not Mike Smith. Who is it now? What's his bucket? I can't remember the head coach's name. He sucks, though. Can't even keep a 28-3 lead. How about the Rams-Panthers? This is another game. I didn't get to see all this. I only got to see highlights last night, but Christian McCaffrey, dude.
What an animal.
Man, Stanford was like no joke. 19 carries, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they still lose because their quarterback's Cam Newton.
Well, it wasn't just that with what he did in the rushing, but he also caught some passes.
10 catches, 81 yards. Both, by the way, both team highs yesterday. So your running back was not only your leading rusher, but he was your leading receiver. What the crap, Carolina? And that Rams defense may not be as good anymore.
Yeah, that surprised me what they were able to allow.
Yeah, I'd say so. Did you see Patrick Mahomes' no-look pass to Kelce that went 25 yards over his head?
No.
You didn't see this?
No.
So Kelce runs like a 5-yard out, and for whatever reason, Jaguars just don't even cover him. I mean, don't even cover him. So Patrick Mahomes steps up in the pocket, runs up just a little bit, and then tries his no-look throw. Kelce's wide. I mean, there is not a Jaguar within 4 yards of him, and he overchucks him by like 10 yards. And Kelce looks at him like, "Are you kidding me?" And Mahomes just goes like this, pats himself on the chest. My bad. Well, no crap, dude. Throw the damn ball. You don't have to know. This isn't basketball. Just throw the ball, man.
Get it on target.
Could you imagine if Tom Brady threw a no-look pass to Edelman and missed him by 15 yards, what Belichick would do? Hey, Stidham, you're in for the rest of the night. I know you're a rookie, but I got a starting quarterback who's won 6 Super Bowls who thinks he can throw no-look passes. Call. Just throw the ball, Patrick. And then, everyone's like, oh, all the Bleacher Report and House of Highlights or whatever, hey, look at this no-look pass. And they do it in slow motion, and you just see the ball oversail Kelce. And Kelce just kind of stops, watches the ball what the... It was kind of funny. Oh, man. Hey, Eagles-Redskins, this one was kind of interesting. Eagles, Deshaun Jackson, 8 catches, 154 gosh dang yards and 2 touchdowns. Wow. Good heck. And by the way, they were down 20-7 going in half. And then Case Keenum for Washington, 30 of 44, 380 yards and 3 touchdowns. But Carson Wentz is there's a reason why they kept him. That's for dang sure.
Yeah.
Hey, is Nick Foles out, by the way? Do we know an injury report on him? Jaguars quarterback? Speaking of Eagles, I know we got injured. I don't know how serious it is. I hope it's not serious, but anyways.
That I don't know.
Carson Wentz, 28 of 39, 313, 3 touchdowns, no picks. It's not bad.
No, not bad. And Case Keenum was okay.
Yeah, he didn't have any turnovers either, did he?
No. I mean, he had a decent game himself.
30 of 44, 380, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and they still lost.
They had no rushing attack.
Wow.
28 total yards rushing for Washington.
Wow. That's NFC East football for you, though. Speaking of NFC East, Cowboys look like they got their crap together. Congratulations to them. Thanks to Dak Prescott, who I said you would not win or contend in a Super Bowl with Dak alone. He goes 25 of 32 for 405 yards and 4 TDs.
Yeah, they looked really good.
35-17. That was the game wasn't even that close.
No, they looked good, but New York just also looked really bad.
They do. I feel bad for
their defensive coverages were consistently horrible in the middle of the field.
Are we too harsh to compare him to Barry Sanders in this regard? That he has an incredibly bad offensive line, but he's a great running back. Is he going to be a Barry Sanders?
Ooh.
Or does he? Or are we in the day and age where Saquon will get out and say, "I need to go play for someone who's gonna not have to make me carry the ball 40 times and get drilled by linebackers coming up a blitz because you guys can't cover for me"?
It's a fair question. I don't know. Eventually, New York's going to make a quarterback change. It's just a matter of when. And will that be much of a difference, or is it still just it won't matter who's back there because that offensive line is so porous? And how does that will a quarterback change really change Saquon Barkley and how effective he is? Maybe not too much, but at least it takes some of the pressure off of him. If there's somebody who can deliver the ball and spread it around a bit. So, I don't know. It was an interesting opening weekend of the NFL. Of course, you got a doubleheader tonight. Texans at the Saints, Broncos at the Raiders. Saints favored by 6.5, Broncos by 3. And the NFL is interesting because the talent level is insane with some of these guys that are out there. Some of the catches that they're making, some of the moves that they're making. But even all that being said, you still have teams like the Browns that find new ways to be stupid and to look bad. So, welcome to 2019 NFL.
Hey, speaking of 2019, I got to jump on this really quickly. Eric Woodyard, who does great work, who I think he's going to ESPN, by the way, wrote an article based on the whole. So, for Jazz fans who've been Jazz fans since 1970 or whatever, there's been that no headband rule. Started with Frank Layden, went through Jerry Sloan, Tyrone Corbin. They included it, tucked in shirts, all the whole thing. Quinn Snyder is allowing headbands on the team now, starting with Mike Conley. But he said the reason why he's giving it to Mike Conley is because he proves that he's a good basketball player and can do it. Now, if a rookie comes in and wants to wear a headband, I think Quinn's going to be like, dude, how about you actually score a bucket or two before you come and wear a headband?
Okay, speaking of headgear, there's this, they call it the ninja-style headwear.
Oh, I did hear about this.
It's kind of a long bandana. They tie it behind their head and let it drape out. Jimmy Butler did it a lot. Drew Holiday did it some. A couple guys in the NBA did it this last season. Well, the NBA is saying, hey, no more. Can't do that. It's not allowed. There was, and apparently they've never had a quote-unquote formal process about headgear. And so some of these guys look, there's no formal rule that I can or can't, so I'm going to tie a bandana around my head. So they let it slide mid-season because they didn't want to create some weirdness in the middle of the season. But now in the off-season, they're saying they've discussed it, and they've said no go. So NBA spokesperson Mike Bass saying the ninja-style headwear is not part of the NBA uniform and has not been through the league approval process. But he said that teams have raised concerns regarding safety and consistency of size, length, and how they're tied, which requires a thorough review before consideration of any rule change. Really? I mean, do you need to have a thorough review about how you tie the knot behind your head?
Yeah.
This kind of knot is okay. That kind of knot is not okay. I don't know. Anyway, we'll get into some NBA players that were in action. The Team USA faced Brazil this morning. We'll update you on what happened there.
Utah State just added another neutral site game, and it's a dandy.
Ooh, yes, that just happened. Just got that news just released by the university. We'll update you on what that is. Region 11, what happened in Region 11 on Friday night? And current standings, who is going to win the Berta Berta?
I hate you.
Play of the game.
Go choke on a Berta Berta.
The bread and butter play of the game from the Skyview football game. We want to give away 4 loaves of bread.
No, we don't.
If you can call in and correctly identify what the bread and butter play of the game, courtesy of the Old Grist Mill, what that play was in the Skyview game this last Friday, correctly identify what it was, and we will get you 4 loaves of bread from the Old Grist Mill. 435-752-1069. We'll continue to discuss that the Utah State news, what happened in Region 11, and what that bread and butter play of the game was from Friday. Coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
The Aggies are number 1 here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Eric Frandsen, Ajay Salvesen. We'll get into the Aggie game coming up next hour. We'll get into more details about what we observed Saturday night. Beautiful night for football in the stadium. Fun win for the Aggies. Before we do that, Blake Griffin on his Twitter account this afternoon. I love that someone at the NBA had to type the words, quote, ninja-style hardware, close quote, and consistency of size and length as their job today.
Oh, man, that's not good.
Yeah, so the NBA today issuing a memo about these headbands, which I didn't see them as a ninja-style headband, but maybe I'm apparently not into ninjas enough. But you saw Jimmy Butler do it on a number of occasions. A couple other guys that would do it. Drew Holiday, Montrezl Harrell, apparently Karl Anthony Towns, a couple times Jarrett Allen. But it's a headband. You tie it off behind you and it drapes down. But the NBA saying, quote, the ninja-style headwear is not part of the NBA uniform. And later on, teams have raised concerns regarding safety and consistency of size, length, and how they are tied, which requires a thorough review for consideration of any rule change.
Oh, jeez. Hey, you think Joe will wear a headband? Joe Ingles?
He did wear one because he had to. He got taped up. He hit a couple big three-point shots after that, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, I want to give a shout-out to Corey Martin. Corey Martin was quick on the dial.
Yes.
We had a number of people calling in today, as opposed to what happened a week ago. But today we had a number of callers to correctly identify what the Skyview High School Sports Burra Burra play of the game was.
Dude, you're not even saying it right.
Courtesy of the Old Grist Mill. In fact, one of the callers said, hey, have you got the Burra Burra play of the game yet?
Okay, that guy is no longer allowed to call in and win any awards.
That made me laugh. That's awesome.
What was his name? Tell me his name.
I'm not going to tell you. But congratulations, Corey Martin. He got it right. Here's what the Old Grist Mill bread and butter play of the game was. For Skyview, they were on the 6-yard line. Walter Collins took a handoff and ran 94 yards for a touchdown. That gave Skyview a 17-0 lead with 5.5 in the first quarter. Collins overall had a great night. Of course, when you have one play go for 94 yards, you're going to have a good night.
Yeah, it helps you.
But he ended up with over 200 yards rushing for the Bobcats. So Corey Martin correctly identified that first, so he wins the 4 loaves of bread. Speaking of Region 11, so in that Skyview game, late in the game, Skyview had the game in control, dominating the game. Late in the game, Mason Falslove is still in there, takes the ball, runs the ball, gets tackled, hurts his shoulder, has to be taken out of the game. I don't know the extent of the injury, but looking at it, looks like he's probably going to miss some time.
I want to know what the heck Skyview was thinking. if you're up that big, sit your quarterback. I don't care how big of an ego Mason has. Sit your quarterback and say, you know what? We're going to have you rest. We got region play coming up, and it's a gauntlet, and we're going to need you for that. Because now, guess what, Eric? Green Canyon's going to absolutely flatten Skyview. Green Canyon looks really good, and they're going to absolutely tear the roof off on Skyview's home. And I mean, it's going to be bad because your best player on your team is out because late in the game when you're up comfortably, when you know there's no chance that you could lose that game, you go ahead and you keep your best player in.
Well, it's okay to leave him in if he's just in the pocket, but on a designed rollout, have him run.
Well, no, I mean, look, let the other kids play. I mean, I know it sounds dumb, but if you're up that big, it's preseason. It's
get the game over.
Yeah. And I don't know. So I feel bad for Mason.
Skyview won 45-33.
And I hope he's okay. But man,
he's probably going to miss some time. I don't know how much.
I've heard a few weeks. I've heard 3 weeks at least. That's what I've heard. But that puts you out for Green Canyon, which, by the way, is probably going to be your region championship shot.
Green Canyon
4-0
took care of business.
4-0
against Box Elder. The Box Elder team that's terrorized other Region 11 teams.
Yeah, they beat Bear River. They beat Mountain Crest. That's not saying much. But yeah, the Green Canyon's legit. Carter White on defense has been a menace. How about this new quarterback coming in from the running back spot? You know, everyone said that this Dagger kid, missing him would really do some damage to this offense. Quite the contrary. I mean, it's been incredible what they're doing. Tanner Watson on the receiving end has been phenomenal. That Green Canyon team, if they can run the table, they'll beat Skyview because there's no Mason. If they can compete with Ridgeline and slow down on that offense, they have a definite chance, an absolute definite chance of being undefeated going into the state tournament.
Bear River played Morgan really tough for the first half.
They certainly did.
Really close. Morgan's a team that's just, about 50 points a game this season was what they've been averaging.
Yeah.
And Bear River was playing them really pretty tough and keeping the score in their in just a close contest. Not a lot of points scored, but Morgan turned it around and dialed it up in the second half. So Bear River loses that one 37-17. Bear River at Ridgeline. It's Ridgeline's homecoming on Friday. And Ridgeline's a team that lost. They lost to Highland 16-13, but they didn't have the Demooney kid out there as their key running back. And he's a dynamic running back for them that makes a lot of things happen. So they missed him. And there was a couple of plays where there were some dropped balls that were right there in the numbers, should have been able to convert and killed some of those drives for Ridgeline. So a disappointing loss for the Riverhawks. They felt like they had a chance to win.
Yeah, Ridgeline's gonna be a problem in the state tournament no matter where they end up. If it's first, second, third, fourth, whatever, that team's gonna be an absolute handful to have to deal with for anybody in the state tournament. And I wouldn't want to have to be that first round team. They're very well coached by Travis Van Leeuwen. They play well. For the most part, they can execute. And I feel like offensively, they've been all right. Look, you had that massacre at Farmington. I think a lot of teams are going to be dealing with that when they play Farmington. But I like a lot of things about Ridgeline. That's going to be a wild card during state. That really is coming out of Region 11.
Box Elder gets to try to contend with Farmington this week.
Yeah, Box Elder is going to struggle with Farmington, if you ask me.
And then Mountain Crest, and we'll be facing Logan this week. Mountain Crest, Bonneville, you were there, Ajay. What more offense from Mountain Crest this week than they've been able to manage for the last couple of weeks? But defensively, what I thought that was supposed to be the strength of the Mustangs is their defense.
Yeah, it's not, and we figured that out by game 2. That is just it's not a strength for them. I think offensively they played pretty well, but again, turnovers, dude. Just turnovers. That is, look, you can push rewind and play on my report of them last week. That's what you can do because that's really what it's been. It's unfortunate too. I think that was a winnable game. It was kind of a weird game too. They were down 21-6, scored 22 unanswered, so they're up by 7. and then didn't score in this. And that was all in the first half. They didn't score in the second half. They got shut out in the second half, 20-0. And I think all three of those points came off of turnovers. And you can't do that. You just can't turn over the ball late in the game on the plus side of the field. That's been a huge issue for them, and it continues to stick them in the crowd. Look, and I'll be flat out honest, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on the air, but I will. If they don't beat Logan this Friday for homecoming, they're not winning another game the rest of the year. Because Ridgeline can put up points, and I'm talking about like 30 to 40 points when they want to, when they can. Skyview is still. I think Skyview, even without Mason, is still better than Mountain Crest, and Green Canyon is obviously the cream of the crop in this region. So, and Bear River is still pretty balanced. I still think Bear River is about as balanced as you can ask for. So it's but I don't think Mountain Crest needs to beat Logan. That's all I'll say.
Logan had a tough go on Saturday, a rare Saturday afternoon game. This was down in Las Vegas, middle of the day in Las Vegas. Heat, unfamiliar territory, an opponent that was aggressive, very aggressive. Desert Pines did 2 onside kicks early in the game. And so out of nowhere.
And they recovered them both?
Out of nowhere, man. They were up 21-0 on the Logan Grizzlies.
Oh, man.
So they ended up losing 42-3 on a Saturday afternoon.
Those are tough to play, though. I don't think people realize how hard those games can be to play, especially as a high school kid. You're in Vegas. It's the heat of the day. You're playing, like you said, unfamiliar territory. It can be tough.
I also want to mention nice performances by Preston, 24-14 over Jerome.
Yeah.
They're going up against a team that's really struggled this year next week, Canyon Ridge. And I feel bad for Westside. This was a team that lost 7-6. And by the accounts that I was able to follow as the game was going on, multiple times they were in the red zone and they had to go for it on 4th down. Apparently they don't have a field goal kicker to save their life.
Really?
Because there were multiple times they could have kicked field goals and didn't get them. And so they ended up losing 7-6 to a Snake River team, which is not really that great. But Westside has had a great tradition of football success. So that's too bad that they got that loss got away from them.
Yeah, I'd say. Dang it.
With all this being said, with high school football, I want to mention, we've got this Cache Valley Preps Pick'em, Cache Valley Media Group Preps Pick'em contest that we're doing. Presented by the Logo Shop, Booster Club headquarters for high school competitive and club teams. But this last week, we had somebody do perfect 10-0. All of our picks were correct.
What?
Ashley Jenks, also known as Aggie Girl, had the highest overall score this past week of 1,094 points. So she won a $100 gift card to McDonald's.
Good for her.
No, that's going to get
If you can go
used
10-0, you deserve it. I mean, that's awesome.
And because she's the weekly winner, she's also automatically qualified as a finalist for the grand prize. And that's going to be a 65-inch 4K TV from Lynn's Audio and Video.
I'm 18-13. I'm in 14th place. I am struggling.
Overall for the season?
Yeah. You're
ahead of me. You're doing better than I am.
By 4 spots. You're 17-15.
Yeah, it's not great. Got to do better.
Where's AJ at?
Much lower than that.
I'm so glad you picked him as an expert. What a great idea.
By the way, get your picks in this week before 5 o'clock Friday.
Oh, geez. Farmington's at Poxelder?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
The prize this week, if you have the highest score, a $100 gift card to Locker 42. So that's awesome. Great picks, great prizes. It's a different prize every week. And if you haven't even participated yet, it's okay. You can still register. You can still make your picks. And there's a chance you could win this week's prize and be entered as a finalist for the grand prize from Locker 42. We've got the links, how to find it, how to find the contest. Just go to 1069thefan.com. On the right-hand side there, you'll see the links for our Preps Pick'em contest. So go check that out.
Who
Make your picks.
Who do you think would win in a war, a dragon or a Trojan?
I would take the dragon.
Okay, I'm going to pick the Trojans to win then.
All right. You do that. Coming up next, let's talk about Team USA. They had a game today against Brazil. a Brazilian team that knocked off Greece and talked a lot of trash about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Were they able to do the same against the Americans? We'll update you on that coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
Interviews, analysis, and a little bit of fun mixed in. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Eric Frandsen, Ajay Salvesen, Full Court Press rolling on. Team USA played earlier this morning. They took, this was in Shenzhen, part of the FIBA World Cup going on in China. Took on Brazil. And Team USA with the victory, 89-73. I kind of get the sense that this team is becoming more and more comfortable with the FIBA World Cup and how it's being played.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're starting to kind of... And that was a thing like in 04 or 06, I believe, in that loss to Greece in the Olympics. I think like they were learning the same thing. Not in the Olympics, in the FIBA tournament, excuse me, I believe. But they were learning the same thing. Like, this is how the roles are. This is the style of play. This is what we need to adjust to. And guys like Carmelo, LeBron, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, they were all kind of learning that system as well in FIBA because it's different than the NBA. And it took them a little bit. Once they got it down, they were unbeatable. And I think that's the case here. Is they're starting to get used to it. It's still taking them a bit, but congratulations to them after their win over this morning over Brazil. They've now qualified for the Olympics in Tokyo for 2020. Think about that, man. A team consisting of Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, Donovan Mitchell, Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown. They just qualified for the Olympics.
Which is nice to have that done now, so you don't have to go through a similar type of tournament in qualifiers ahead of the Olympics next year. So there are only 8 teams left now that will advance to this final phase of the FIBA World Cup. Before we talk about who else is in this, just a quick recap of what happened early this morning. Donovan Mitchell didn't score the most. It was actually Miles Turner and Kemba Walker who really led Team USA, both with 16 points. But Donovan did a lot of things for the Americans. 6 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 block. So he was tied with Kemba Walker with the best plus-minus. There was a reflection of who was the most effective while they were on the court. So it was a nice performance by Donovan Mitchell, but Team USA getting a lot of contributions from a lot of different guys. And I'm especially happy to see Miles Turner coming along and playing well. He'll need to, especially when they play France in this next stage of the FIBA World Cup.
Who do they got? Do we know yet?
Yeah, they got
France. Yeah, Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert.
Who they got beat by in a really thrilling game. They got beat by Joe Ingles and the Boomers.
Yeah, that was a really close matchup.
Joe loves to talk. Wow, I had no idea.
You had no idea.
He really does. Well, he loves it. I mean, dude, I mean, it's almost like a Spain-Europe pick and roll. He comes off the roll from right to left, goes down the middle of the lane, gets a lefty layup to go over Rudy Gobert, and then just stops and stares at him. And Rudy's like, dude, like, what do you want?
Rudy had 8 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and fouled out. And 2 blocks.
He was ticked about that last foul, too. He was livid.
Joe Ingles, 23 points. Patty Mills had 30. But Joe Ingles had 23 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal.
If Australia faces U.S. again, Australia will win. I really think that.
They've got a lot of confidence.
Dude, they are playing with some swag. But this France team is no joke either. Look, they've got some serious height, something that U.S. doesn't have. They've got very physical guards. Those guards are not scared at all to be up in your grill, to be in your biz. And if that's the case, it's just, how can those guards handle? I know Marcus Smart isn't great with handling that. Donovan Mitchell is still working on that, dealing with a physical guard like that. So, yeah, that could be a really intriguing matchup. Wednesday morning, right? So what time they play?
Yes, I believe
Wednesday.
That's correct.
They have the day off tomorrow, and then they play Wednesday. Yeah, okay.
So the other teams that are involved, the other 6, it'll be Argentina versus Serbia. Really interesting matchup there. You have the best defensive team against the best offensive team in that matchup. Spain versus Poland, and then Australia versus Czech Republic. So Team USA is on the same bracket side as Serbia. So they won't see Australia, potentially, if they do, until the championship game. But that if they can get past France, Serbia is going to be a big challenge.
Yeah, Serbia could be fun. I like when the U.S. is tested, though. This is good for these guys to be, in an atmosphere where nobody wants you to win. Even today, dude, like Brazil. I mean, it was all Brazil. I mean, you hear all sorts of chants of like defense and such, just cheering for Brazil, and that's the way it's going to be the rest of the way. Nobody wants the U.S. to win this thing. And it's good for those players too. Feel the hostile environment.
Yeah, the game will be USA versus France will be on Wednesday. It'll be really early in the morning, our time. So it'll be the first of 2 games that day. The Australia-Czech Republic game is the later game that day. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting one after it's all said and done. This is a lose and you're done.
Yeah, now you're in it's
win and you advance.
Yep. Now you're in the survival mode. Hey, last question. And I ask this just because I'm your friend. Eric, are you rolling?
I am rolling.
You are?
I've been rolling the whole hour. And I'll roll more the next hour
this
as
is
well.
Above the Noise. The Monday after Week 1 in the NFL was one of the biggest overreaction days in the sports calendar. Today's no exception. If you read the headlines or listened to the radio, you'll probably hear the following. Patriots look unbeatable. Cowboys are for real. Lamar Jackson's going to be a star. And the Browns are a massive disappointment. Now, don't get me wrong, a few of those things might be true. New England does look amazing, and then they're adding Antonio Brown. Dallas's offensive line is a force to be reckoned with. Baltimore gave Lamar Jackson some real weapons, and it paid off. And the Browns, well, maybe that one is on us. We overhyped them. They have a first-year head coach, potential problems up front with that offensive line. But just remember, lots of weird things happened in the first game last year. As hard as it is, try to wait a couple of weeks before deciding just how you think 2019's NFL season is going to play out. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.